This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Skeleton.
Oh, damn it. How do I forget every week?
I don't know. It's so spooky.
It really is. It's one of the more scary things happening this Halloween season, how I keep forgetting.
Yeah,
I'm Tomb.
You got a spooky brain.
I really do. It's full of cobwebs. How are you doing this week, Tim?
Tom, I'm disappointed in you, but otherwise,
You're disappointed in me. Why?
Yeah.
Oh, because I forgot my name, right?
I
forgot my spooky Halloween name.
It's Halloween month here on the Complete Guide to Everything,
And not just
I
here,
guess
in the world.
life. Yeah.
It's
Have you
Halloween
noted-
month around the globe.
And you can't be asked to put on a spooky voice.
I know.
It's very disappointing, Tom. Have you noticed? Is it just me, or do people go like way deeper into Halloween way earlier these days? Like in the last couple of years.
Well, I mean, Halloween. I think it's just everything feels faster because like Halloween's rapidly approaching now.
No, I feel like it's like October 1st. It's like, okay, now like even normies are putting like crazy things on their lawn and like
yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. So you're saying starting on October 1st is too much?
I don't think it's too much. See, Tom, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying it's too much. I'm saying
you want
I
people
feel like it's
to
earlier.
be doing it on the Devil's Night.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it used to be. I feel like people are just like way more enthusiastic about Halloween, and maybe that's just millennials becoming adults, or not adults, but like middle-aged. And like boomers were just like, what is this shit? No, I'm not doing this. Like when we were kids,
You know what?
they were just like walking through our town, October 7th. 1992. It wasn't like, ooh, there's skeletons everywhere and like, fake, yeah, right? Like,
so you
fake
just
spider
don't.
webs
You
and
just
stuff.
don't feel as safe walking the streets.
No, it's terrifying.
This Halloween month.
No, it's terrifying out there. Ghouls, ghosts, skeletons.
Yeah, you seem especially hung
These
up on the
presidential
skeletons being
candidates. Am I
scary.
right?
I think, you know what I think part of it is? Like, I'm remembering when I was a kid, like, I can only remember my parents dressing up for Halloween a couple of times, and they certainly didn't do it all month. But when they did, I think they, like, always made their costumes. Like, I think when we were kids, it was like, oh, if you want to dress up like something as an adult, you're going to have to find something in your closet or make something. Like,
you're going to have to make something sexy. They don't sell those sexy costumes at the store.
Yeah. You're going to have to go to like a sexy store to buy these things. Whereas nowadays, I'm going to a Halloween party next week, I guess, and it's like, yeah, I just ordered a costume off Amazon for like $25 or whatever.
Right. Well, you have no imagination and no creativity, Tom.
Well, but as a result, like, I'm actually gonna go to this. If the barrier was you have to make a costume, like you have to handcraft something good, then I wouldn't do it. I mean, in my head, the example I just keep thinking of is that when I was probably like 3 or 4, my parents dressed up as Smurfs for Halloween.
Okay. They didn't go in Blueface, though, did they?
They were like covered in blue paint head to toe. I remember as a kid like screaming about it, being just like so Like I thought they were dead. I thought they had been frozen or something. Like I didn't like it.
You didn't know? You didn't recognize them as the Smurfs from TV?
No, because like compared to the Smurfs, they were hideous. You know, it was like
this is
not the right
thing.
shade of blue and too much detail.
Can I tell you something? Homemade costumes never ever look good. They never look like the thing they're supposed to look like, and they're always janky. Even I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, nowadays you've got cosplays of things. So like now people like
I'm not
there
talking
are
about
people
that. I'm
that
talking about like kids.
like kids. Yeah, kids are like normal people making stuff.
Yeah,
People
normies
who
Not
don't have
Halloween
experience
freaks.
doing stuff like that. Not people who are making cosplay costumes 12 months out of the year and then being like, oh, I'll just pull one of these out of the closet. People who are like, I've never seen a needle and thread, but I've always fancied being Dick Tracy for Halloween.
Right. Dick Tracy should be an easy one though. You don't have to make your own fedora. You just buy a fedora.
A yellow one, Tim? He wore that bright yellow fedora and jacket.
So you get another
I don't think you
fedora
could find
and you
those.
paint it yellow.
I mean, that's still like a decent amount of work, and it's going to look like shit.
It's easy. No, it's going to look good, Tom. Trust me.
You could just use yellow house paint or something?
Yeah, maybe. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Tom, I don't like you pre-negging my my Dick Tracy costume.
Well, no, I'm negging it so then when you wear it, I can tell you how sexy it looks, and you'll really believe it.
Hey, you literally read the book.
I just want to build up your confidence, Tim. And if that requires tearing it down first, so be it.
Is that the idea with negging in the pickup artist community?
I think kind of, because it's like you're insulting somebody, so now they like want to be
okay, so it's
like
not
want to impress you, but then you when you turn it around on them and then you give them attention, then they're like, oh man, this guy must really like me, because like an hour ago he was saying I had a horse face.
Right. Okay, so it's not about like, oh, I want to make you feel good about yourself. It's I want to manipulate you and control your emotions. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's all the pickup artist stuff, Tim.
Jury's out if that's a good way to live.
I feel like you don't hear about pickup artists as much anymore. Cancel culture run amok.
I think they all settled down, found the ideal mate.
They all
Was
found
that the
their
idea? Or were they like, let's cycle through all the ladies?
Yeah, no, I think it was that was one of the more controversial aspects of it, that it wasn't like, here's a method to meet the love of your life. It was, here's a method to manipulate somebody else's emotions to sleep with them. And
right. And then move on to the next one. Like, leave them
and they're not going to be happy about it the next day, but too late.
Right. The early 2000s.
You and your yellow painted fedora are already on their way out the door.
No, I'm the one with the yellow.
In
that scenario.
Okay.
I'm the lady that was being negged.
Oh, I thought you were the trick or treater at the door as the guy's heading out. Wearing a fedora and a long coat that's just painted with yellow paint. I'm Dick Tracy.
Tom, have you ever been to a Halloween party that you had fun at?
Yeah, I think I've had fun at every Halloween party I've ever been to.
Okay. Yeah, just checking. Me too.
Have you not had fun at Halloween parties?
I don't think so.
Really? Because
I think I'm always just like, what are you?
Yeah, that's one of the fun parts. Everybody's dressed up stupid, and that's.
I'm always in a shittier I've always put too little effort into my costume.
Right. So then, like, everybody's like not happy you're there.
No,
And
everybody's always
they're
happy to
looking
see
at
you.
you like, oh, we were all having like a nice, fun costume party, and then this dickhead who thinks he's too cool for it came in,
I just
wearing
don't.
he's got like a piece of printer paper taped to him that says costume on
Wow, that'd be really cool.
it.
That's like something out of the
and
90s.
he's negging everyone. He's just negging recklessly.
Yeah, but then I leave with two ladies on my arm.
Do you know, I learned about this today, that like you can buy, it's like a thing people buy and collect like wrestling belts, like the championship belt you win. You know,
Yeah,
if
I guess
you
that makes sense. Like replicas or like the actual one that
like
the Hitman Hart one.
I mean, I'm sure there's a market for that stuff too, like any sports collectible. But this is like strictly replicas that people buy and collect.
That surprises you as a guy who like knows about like the cosplay scene and stuff?
I guess not. I guess I'm more curious about like how close is it to the real ones and how expensive is it? Like that's
Right.
that, because the one I saw, it was like, yeah, I didn't see it in person, of course. I wish. I wish I had a story about like this guy walked down the street with a WWE Intercontinental Champion belt on today. I couldn't believe it. I stopped him. I said, "You win? You earned that?" He said, "No, no, it's just a replica." And I said, "Well, that's stolen valor, pal. You shouldn't be
Right.
wearing that walking down the street."
Well, I don't think you'd say that if you plausibly thought he could have earned that. That would have meant he was a hulking muscle man.
He gave me the Stone Cold Stunner. Right,
it was
there
Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I don't know. Honestly, the stunner kind of messed me up afterwards. So I'm not entirely sure if it was him or not. It could have been. He did a very good job.
What is that? Breaking somebody's neck?
It's like you put their head on your shoulder and then just like drop down.
Oh yeah, it's breaking
Maybe
their
it's
neck.
your neck. I don't know. I think it's just your head.
Did you grew up
All I
watching
know-
wrestling?
Not really. I was going to say that like my experience with like at least that era of wrestling is entirely based on me yelling at kids at the pool to stop doing it.
Right. You were a
Like,
lifeguard. You weren't just a guy at the pool.
No, I wasn't just some guy at the pool. I was a lifeguard at the pool, and there were like a bunch of like dirtbag wrestling fans who didn't have anywhere else to go that would hang out at the pool all day wearing wrestling shirts like in the pool and just doing the moves to each other. And it was just like, guys, you can't do those moves. And then guess what? They jump off the diving board and do the suck it thing.
You?
At us. Yeah, it was like, oh man. And now I'm getting moves thrown at me.
It was very funny in the late 90s
Mm-hmm.
how the catchphrase for like a lot of the youth culture like thing was "suck it," and like
Suck
in
it
our
with
high school
with like a cross, like a move that was like must have been invented in the WWE boardroom of like, what will the censors let us get away with? The guy can't just point to his dick and say suck it. He can't. He has some motion with both hands with like a cross between
like
them.
around it, but
like around, like drawing attention to it, but making sure not to point at it in any way. And it was like, but it means suck my dick. Like that's very obvious what it means.
yeah, I mean it's so close to actually just saying that.
Yeah, just saying suck my dick and pointing at it, going this right here.
And everybody just walked around the hallways of our high school with impunity.
Yeah,
just doing that constantly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there were also people that walked around the high school with immunity saying "suck my dick" to people. So Like that was the thing. I think I remember even like saying to these kids once, like, I think I'd rather you just say that than say suck it, because like it's making me so mad that you think I like, oh man, that
you
guy
think that's
who's
clever.
3 years older than us has no idea what we're referring to. We're really pulling one over on him.
I don't want to be one of these middle-aged guys about like, the world used to be better. But that's an example of how the world used to be better, right?
What?
Walk around the hallways of a school. We're not here to talk about saying suck it in high school. We're here to talk about the creatures of the night. The gentlemen creatures of the night.
Yeah.
Vampires.
Oh. I thought we were doing umpires this week.
Oh, Tom.
And when you were saying like creatures of the night, I was thinking you meant like, oh yeah, it's playoffs, a lot of night games going on. I get it. Yeah.
It is. There are a lot of night games. Yeah. No, Tom. Why would we be? It's Halloween month, Tom.
I know. I confused. It's also playoff season, Tim. So you could see how something like this would happen.
Maybe next year we'll do MLB playoff month on The Complete Guide to Everything, so we don't have to think of monsters we haven't talked about.
Monsters we haven't talked about, Tim. There are still a lot of monsters. Maybe you haven't been keeping up to date with how many monsters there are out there nowadays.
I try not to think about it, Tom. I'm not. Are you talking about the political candidates this season?
Tim, no, I'm not talking about the political candidates. I'm talking about like new monsters that Gen Z's coming up with.
Gen Z's coming up with new monsters?
Yeah, Gen Z's always coming up with new, like Slender Man.
Tom,
and
that
Skibbity
was
Toilet.
Like 20 years. That's not a monster. That's just something you don't.
It's a man whose head is coming out of the toilet. If that's not a monster, I don't know what is.
It sounds like we're gonna have to devote a whole episode to these new Gen Z monsters.
I think we might, Tim. I mean, it is funny because I think about like the things that were you afraid of the boogeyman as a kid?
No, I never really understood what the boogeyman was.
And right there, we haven't done an episode about the boogeyman, I don't think.
I don't think the boogeyman is like well defined enough.
Well, don't say you don't think he doesn't exist, Tim, because that's the kind of shit that antagonizes him and gets him to show up.
Can we take a step back before when I said a gentleman
of the night
or whatever? You couldn't decide between I saw you between making your umpires joke or chastising me for thinking that a vampire couldn't be a woman.
Oh,
like feigning indignance there. I saw you went, oh, and then you were like,
well, when you said
go with the umpire joke.
Gentleman of the night, that sounds like some kind of a gigolo or something,
right? Which I think like many vampires are also.
I think so. I mean that it makes sense.
Be a good gig for them, yeah.
That's how you're gonna trap your prey.
And they can only go out at night. They're sexy as hell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're already sexy as hell. They can glamour people.
Yeah. Okay. You got to explain vampires to me. I've read Interview with the Vampire. Are you sure we haven't done vampires on this show?
We did, but it was 12 years ago. I looked it up.
Okay.
I think we talk about vampires a lot, though.
We do.
Just in normal conversation.
They come up. It's natural.
They come up. They say, "Invite me into your house," and you're like, "No, I know this one."
Now, if somebody says, "Invite me in," and then you invite them, is a vampire able to do that?
Yes. So yeah, one
Even
of
if
the
they can initiate the request of like invite me.
yes. My understanding is that they can even use their hypnotic powers to, kind of like Jedi mind trick you into asking them to come in.
Okay, so this is the thing about vampires. They can't come in unless you
Mhm.
invite them in.
Yeah. So there
But isn't that anybody?
No, not the police, Tim.
Mm,
If they've got a
some people
warrant,
would
they can
disagree
just
with
come
you.
in. You could disagree, but they're still going to come in.
Right. Okay.
And I'm saying it's the same thing with a vampire. Sure, you might be able to take the vampire to court after the fact, but they're going to come in one way or another. Not one way or another. They're going to trick you into inviting them in.
A vampire can't sue you very effectively, though, huh? Because he probably has to show up.
Court.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's rare that you forget about Night Court, but this is one
I'm
of the times.
Night Court. Well, I'm usually thinking about Bull from Night Court.
Of course, yeah.
Or John Larroquette.
Yeah. Or Harry Anderson.
Yeah.
Or Marky Post.
Post.
There are a lot of people to think about.
Or Marsha Warfield.
But what were you going to say about it being hard for vampires to sue people?
Yeah, because you'd have to come out they'd have to show up in the daytime.
Not with Night Court, yeah.
Not with Night Court. You were one step ahead of me, Tom.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times too, lawsuits end in settlements. They don't even reach the court system, Tim.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. So that might be a good business. Start suing vampires for frivolous things. And they'll just be like, I can't show up to the court.
Yeah.
I must settle. It's not fair, but I will settle. Right?
Tim, you're reminding me that the last time we covered vampires, I think you said some problematic things about Transylvania, and we got an email from a Transylvanian reaming us out. Apparently, they were unaware that everybody just only knows about vampires coming from Transylvania. Look, I get it, but this person had the fury of somebody who had never heard of that before, had never been made fun of, had never heard of Transylvania made fun of in that light before.
Right. Well, I'm not going to do it this time, Tom. I've learned in the last 12 years.
Good. What have you learned about Transylvania? What else have they got?
No, I learned not to talk about it.
Not to talk about Transylvania.
I've spent the last decade plus coming up with schemes how to separate vampires from their money.
Oh,
and this suing them and forcing them to settle because they can't show up in court.
Yeah,
really seems like a winner.
Now, what if the court date it's very overcast?
They can't go. They can't risk that.
It depends on how much they're being sued for, Tim. It depends on if they've got that money to lose or not.
True.
It is funny. I was thinking about how one of my favorite Jack Handey quotes is that he would like to have a cross made out of kryptonite. That way he could keep away vampires and Superman. And I think it's speaks to a deeper truth, Tim, of how similar vampires are to Superman, where I feel like vampires have been around, this idea of a creature that looks like a human or that's been somehow infected or cursed and needs to feed off of other beings in order to sustain itself. That idea has been around for a very long time.
What I don't understand is what happens to a vampire if they don't suck blood?
It depends.
Because a vampire can't die, right? They're all 10,000 years old.
It depends on the on who's telling the story. But I think it's usually just that they become just so I think in some they can die from it.
Okay.
But it's that they just become so incredibly weak without it. that it's
Vampires are so
like
dramatic.
torture.
Can't stand.
I mean, I was gonna say I imagine it's a made up thing, but I feel like the way it's commonly depicted is almost like a heroin addiction, like an opioid addiction, of just somebody that like they just need it. They feel like they're going to die without it, so it's irrelevant kind of whether they are going to die or not, because they're going to act that way to get it.
So Van Helsing, we would be against him, right? Because it's just like, oh, those
are addicts.
You can't punish.
They can't help that.
Yeah.
Let's
get them into, what would be they can, what is that heme that the Beyond Burger people came up with?
The hemoglobin stuff that's supposed to taste like blood.
Yeah,
well,
give that to the vampires.
That show True Blood was about.
Oh.
That it was like a world where vampires exist, vampires are real, but also that like synthetic blood that's what's called True Blood, like that's the brand. So it's like the vampires, I think it was that they basically came out of the shadows because they were, it was our world more or less before that where they were a myth. But then once this was developed, they were like, oh, well, now that like we can just, subsist off of this, we can let you guys know, hey, we're not going to suck your blood. We're fine with this. But some people, they still weren't happy about that. And I think that's what most of the show was about.
Yeah, I remember not watching that show because it seemed I would have been bored. Despite, I think copious amounts of nudity was that what that show is known for? That was
a lot of blood. I mean, vampires in general, they're by far the sexiest monster.
I'm partial to the Wolfman.
Right. I feel like there's no other like scary monster that has more like nudity associated with it in pop culture, like more nudity and sex and stuff.
Yeah. But like to me it's in that way of like, I don't know, you're being real dramatic about being sexy.
But some people like that, Tim. Some people like dramatic sexy.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah, well, that good. You're safe from vampires. You're not going to be pulled
in
by it.
Yeah, thanks for noticing. I'm extremely safe from vampires.
But
I'm not charmed by them. I'll never invite them in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You had a unified theory of all your interests about vampires and Superman.
All my interests being vampires and Superman. No, but just how I think a lot of people know this, that like kryptonite was invented on the Superman radio show. Like it wasn't an original thing from Superman. The idea that he's weak to kryptonite.
Okay. Wait, yeah, but honestly, kryptonite, is it a real thing?
Kryptonite exists on the periodic table. It's just not what it's not a shard of the planet Krypton that has come to Earth. Right. And is now poisonous to Superman. But
are we sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But the similarity between the two.
No, there's no real kryptonite.
There's a real kryptonite.
What? There's not.
What did you Google? Is kryptonite real?
Yeah.
Put in not Superman.
Not Superman.
In the whole thing, don't just Google not Superman. You're going to end up looking at Bizarro.
From livescience.com, a real mineral nearly identical to Superman's kryptonite.
There you go.
Tom,
there you go. Case closed.
Here's the chemistry of why kryptonite can't ever exist, says Gizmodo.
I think there's like krypton in the periodic table or something. It's not kryptonite maybe, but it's something like that. There is like some mineral that is called krypton or kryptonite, but it's not it can't hurt Superman. It's a different thing.
Right.
But my point,
in real life, Superman can't be hurt
my
by
point
anything.
was just going to be that I think the same thing happened with vampires happened with Superman, where they came out with a character and they were like, yo, check this character out. He's invincible and he's super strong and he can fly. And then after a few years of stories, it was like, well, these stories are boring. He's got no weaknesses. So they were like, oh, did we not tell you that he can't be near kryptonite and he can't see through lead and he has to be charged by the sun. And I feel like that's what happened with vampires, that it was just kind of this idea of, well, these things would just overrun the world. They would just, every night they would go out and just attack people and make more vampires until the whole world was vampires.
Which
So
wouldn't be terrible, right?
It would be terrible. You said it wouldn't be terrible?
Yeah, why would it be terrible?
You were just complaining about how sexy they are and that you don't like that. Think about the whole world would be so sexy.
They are. No, but if everybody was that dramatic, then that would just be the baseline and it would be fine.
And you think
I'm fine with everybody being
adjust
sexy, Tom? Jeez.
You'd adjust to that in this world? You think?
Yeah,
because
I would be just as dramatic.
Yeah, you'd be walking around in a cape. So who are you to judge?
It's the same thing. Like I wouldn't mind dying if everybody died at the same time.
I was thinking about that the other day, that like, because I think there was something in the news about like, like an asteroid's headed towards Earth in 100 years or NASA's working on asteroid deflection things. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't give a shit. Like if an asteroid hits the Earth and kills everyone, cool. I got to be here at the very end. That's pretty sick. Like, and if everybody's dead, then I guess maybe my fear of death is just jealousy in that case.
Yeah.
Just being jealous of everyone that's still alive. So if nobody was alive, I would be fine.
It was just like it's just not possible.
Yeah,
what
just be like, well,
about it?
I mean, nothing you can do about it. It happened, and we're all in the same boat, so it's fine.
There's a fly in my house.
That kind of stuff wouldn't happen if you were a vampire, Tim. I think they...
Yeah, because they're bats, and the bats eat bugs.
Yeah, well, and I think, like, vampires, like animals, except for, like, maybe cats, just in general, don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah, all right, tell me more about vampires. Tell me about...
Well, let me tell you about some of the other weaknesses they have. In early vampire lore, sunlight didn't necessarily kill vampires. It was in the 1922 silent film Nosferatu that sunlight became lethal to vampires, which is a trait now common in modern vampire stories. So they like didn't, and we read Dracula for Books of Podcast.
Yeah, one of us did.
Yeah, and which one of us?
You read Dracula. I read Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, right.
So we should really have a lot more information about vampires than
I do.
We should be experts at this point, and we've done an episode on vampires. And it's just
right, and we pissed off a guy from Transylvania.
What do we think is the statute of limitations for reusing topics? Are we saying 10 years?
I think 10 years at the minimum, if it's a good topic, and if new information's come to light in the 10 years since then. Yeah.
Okay. This checks both those boxes.
Yeah. But this from Nosferatu is like kind of what I'm saying, that it's like, oh, people before it was like, yeah, they don't like sunlight, they avoid it, it burns them. But Nosferatu is like, oh no, sunlight's lethal. And now I feel like the most common trope in vampire stuff, which honestly my like frame of reference is what we do in the shadows. That's like the most modern vampire content that I regularly consume, I guess. But I think it's not just them. No, I'm going to contradict myself, but I was going to say that the idea that like sunlight immediately vaporizes them and turns them to dust. Blade had this too. The Blade movies also had a big focus on like sunlight can just instantly incinerate a vampire.
I like that. You think it's misinformation.
Well, I was just thinking about how Twilight, it was just that it made them like shimmer like diamonds. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't think it was harmful at all. It was just that it like outed them as vampires.
Beautiful.
Well, beautiful if you are into vampires.
If you like shimmering diamonds, yeah.
If you like somebody's skin looking like shimmering diamonds, and if you aren't afraid of a vampire who's going to eat you, yeah. I mean, it's the same way like you could look at, I don't know, like a shark's mouth and be like, man, look at those pearly whites. But you don't want to see him coming at you. You don't want to see a sparkly bodied man, flying towards you to bite your neck and suck all your blood out. It's not going to be so beautiful then.
And so what I understood, like what I used to think was that if a vampire bit you and sucked your blood, you'd turn into a vampire. But that's not the case.
Yeah, that's also a thing. I feel like depending on
this is my problem with vampire stuff.
The lore is too loose.
Yeah, there's no consistency between, and it's just like I feel like each story takes for granted that you're on the same page about the lore, and it's like I don't want to learn new lore for every vampire story.
No, it depends. I kind of like it with vampire stories that, yeah, there isn't like a hard and fast lore. You can kind of take bits and pieces. And that's, I feel like the case with zombies nowadays too. That you can kind of not play with, but I guess like interpret the rules differently. So yeah, in some pieces of work, if you get bit by a vampire, you become a vampire. In some, it's you have to be bit by a vampire. It's hard to say, but not had all the blood sucked out of you. So like if the vampire got distracted or if they didn't want to finish, they could stop. And then you would become a vampire if you didn't die first.
Right.
But a more common one, I think maybe this was like an Anne Rice thing, but maybe I'm wrong, is the idea that like a vampire has to give you its blood for you to become a vampire. Like it has to bite you, but then let you bite it, or in some way ingest its blood, and then you will become a vampire.
Yeah, there was some business with a little girl in this, in Interview with the Vampire. That, and it was all, but it was just the way it was written. It was just like, we shouldn't be doing this stuff, guys.
Yeah, I mean, in that movie, Kiki makes out with Brad Pitt, right? And she was like 12 years old at she's playing an older character, but the actress playing her was, I don't know, 12 or 14.
It's supposed to be the
like
opposite. If there's supposed to be kissing that involves someone young in a movie, it's like, hey, we took a young-looking 24-year-old and made them look right. They were just like, oh no, this is supposed to be an old woman in a child's body, so let's cast a child and make her kiss grown men.
Yeah. I saw, speaking of which, I saw there were paparazzi pictures today of Gwyneth Paltrow locking lips. You'll never guess with who on the set of a movie.
Timmy Chalamet?
Yeah, it was Timmy Chalamet.
That's
saw
the only
these
boy
too.
I know. No, I didn't see him.
Okay. You just assumed.
I only know Timmy Chalamet, and then who's the boy? Who's the other boy?
Tom
Skyler
Holland?
or something.
Oh yes, yeah, the guy who's playing Jimmy Olsen in Superman.
Yeah, I think that guy's my favorite actor. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's in everything.
yeah, he's gonna be in Superman.
Gisondo?
Zondo?
Skyler Gisondo.
Yeah, he's a good egg, that kid.
Yeah.
I like him and stuff. All right, well, step aside, boys. There's a new boy.
Yeah, he's 28 years old.
He's almost 30 years old, but he's one of the hot
You know
new
what?
boys on the block.
But he could play a 14-year-old, and I'd be,
Yeah.
Yep, I'm
Well,
into it.
Timmy Chalamet and Tom Holland, they've both got to be around those ages now, right? How old is Timmy Chalamet?
Timmy Chalamet, I had to remember how to
Don't
spell
tell me
his,
he's still 14 years old.
Tom, he's also 28, just like
20.
Skyler.
Yeah,
The boys are the same age.
It's fine for him to be making out with Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
It's allowed.
Tom Holland,
Mm-hmm.
28.
Wow,
Man,
the 28
club. Yeah.
That's about boys who are 28, right?
I mean, it is.
Good looking boys who are 28.
Yeah, and they're all just Timmy Chalamet looks a little like a scumbag, right? Are we
It depends. He can. He's definitely more.
He can have like a dirt stash, right?
Yeah, he's definitely more scumbag looking than like Tom Holland or Skyler in these things. Like he's got more of a rat face. He's got more of a Weasley face.
Yeah. But from what I understand, young people think a rat face is attractive.
Yeah, I think so. I think these kids nowadays, they're into rat faces.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. Tom, you know what I have a new theory about myself. Because I'm on the cusp. Because I'm an elder millennial.
Yeah.
But like because I have an older sibling, a brother. I think I'm just like I think I'm more Gen X than I am millennial.
Oh, I see. I mean, I could see we're at the beginning of where millennials start. So yeah, if you have an older brother that's influencing like what you're into, that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely.
Maybe that's why I feel more like I have a younger brother. So like he's firmly millennial. So maybe that pulled me that way, made me feel like a kid, kept me young.
Tom, your brother keeps you young. I've said that time after time.
I don't know if you saw. We're recording remote this week, despite the fact that you were at my home earlier today to get something you forgot. But I don't know if when you walked over here, you saw. Maybe these are in your neighborhood too. A bunch of signs looking for a young Zendaya.
No, what?
Yeah, they're like casting for a movie.
Oh, okay. I was very confused.
Yeah, no, they're just all these like printouts all over the neighborhood on phone poles, basically saying like, "Do you look like a young Zendaya? Like, we're casting a movie with Zendaya, and we need a young person to play a young version of her."
That seems like a trap. And also, Zendaya.
No, I looked into it. It's legit. I have an audition on Monday.
This might be a middle-aged man speaking, but like Zendaya, like how young are they looking? She could just put shoes on her knees, and I'd believe that she was 8 years old.
Well, that's what when I watched that movie Challengers, like when it starts, they're in high school. And then by the time it ends, they're supposed to be like 40 or like pushing 40, like in their 30s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know she is closer to that, but like I believed it when she was the high school kid, and now this just looks like a high school kid playing dress up later in the movie, even though she's playing her actual age, or at least closer to her actual age. So yeah, this, I mean, I think they are looking for somebody who's like 12, but I was still like, I bet they're not looking that hard. I bet they, in their back pocket, they're like, look, worst case scenario, we'll just have Zendaya play a younger version of herself.
Yeah, she'll kneel down. We'll put shoes on her knees.
Yeah,
she'll put her arms into her sleeves so her arms are shorter.
I saw. Do you follow? Well, you're maybe not on Twitter as much nowadays, but there's like an account that just I forget what it's called, but it just puts out like screenshots from sitcoms of like sitcom actors. Like
I gotta get back on Twitter.
It's just like, just screenshots of like from the titles. So it'll be like a screen grab of the immediate example that popped into my mind was Bill Cosby, who's not an example. They did not do one of these for Bill Cosby.
You always got the cause on the mind, Tom.
But maybe it'll be like
Jennifer Aniston, the man.
Jennifer Aniston on Friends, but it's a screen grab of her like, with Jennifer Aniston printed underneath.
Oh, from the opening credits?
From the actual opening credits.
Oh. Okay. This is something you follow and keep up with for fun?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun follow, but they posted one somewhat recently that was like Zendaya from when she was on like a Disney Channel show or something. I don't know, 15 years ago, and I was like, she looks exactly the same as she does now. Yeah. Whereas sometimes they'll show people from early roles maybe you didn't even know they were in, and you're like, oh shit, look at that. I didn't know, when they were a kid. They were the kid from, this show I didn't really watch or whatever.
Do you want to play How Old is Zendaya?
Ooh. I'm going to guess 31.
28. She's in the 28 club.
She's in the 28 club, too.
1996 was a wild year, Tom.
It really was.
What was in the water? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what movies came out that year?
Independence Day?
Yeah. It's probably a lot of people.
Zendaya was born, a mere 2 months after Independence Day.
Oh, okay. Well, so she wasn't conceived during the movie or in the aftermath of the movie.
I don't know if her parents.
Maybe they were in the biz and they got a backlot screening, an early preview screening.
We're all hot and bothered. Yeah, Independence Day was the top grossing movie, and then Twister.
Mm-hmm.
Mission Impossible. These are all movies where I could see people leaving all hot and bothered.
These are all movies that sequels came out last year for.
This is true. Ransom. Do you remember that movie?
With Mel Gibson, yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, one of the other rules about vampires that I forgot about is the idea that they don't have reflections. They don't reflect in mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the reason for that is that they don't have souls.
All right, but like a pumpkin doesn't have a soul, but like it has a reflection in the mirror.
Have you ever seen a picture of one?
Of a pumpkin?
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I've only seen them in real life.
You've only seen them in real life.
And never reflected in anything either.
No. Yeah.
Wow.
Tim, bring a big, like a hallway mirror to the pumpkin patch this year and see what happens.
I was at the pumpkin patch last week, Tom.
Just hanging out, loitering.
No, I bought a pumpkin. I bought Tom
heckling people.
Tom, you wouldn't believe
nice
how big
pumpkin,
this pumpkin
stupid.
is. You wouldn't believe how big this pumpkin I got was.
Oh yeah. Did you go to one of these pumpkin patches where like all the pumpkins you can like carry past a line you get to keep?
No, this was 75 cents per pound. They weighed them.
Oh, okay. I remember when I was a kid, the place we used to go to out east, that was their thing. That it was like you paid a flat rate and you had to carry them, and that was
I remember this too.
That was like
yeah.
a fun thing because
Yeah.
you would load up my dad with, and like I remember being like, all right, like that's enough. Just trying to
That's
fit like
enough,
little,
everybody.
just trying to like fit
You're
more
hurting
little.
him. The
Just-
kids that weren't in your family were stacking.
No,
That's
because
my
like.
dad.
Because when you're a kid, you don't really like, I don't know, you're not good at that kind of stuff. So you're like, I'll just keep putting more on. And it's like, well, no, that's going to cause more to fall than you're putting on. But I don't know if they still have that. I'd like to try that. That's fun. Really.
I don't know. In
And
this
finally, you
economy-
can really stick one to those pumpkin patch owners who've been fucking over everyday Americans.
I mean, I'm sure, Tom, if you dug into or did the slightest bit of research on anybody who owns and operates a pumpkin patch, you'd be like, oh, this person is despicable.
I read recently that it's, Bill Gates owns most pumpkin patches.
Is that true?
He does own a lot of farmland. I think he owns
does.
more
He's been buying
farmland than
that up.
anyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not like a great look when you're trying to, I mean,
So
I
like
guess maybe
avoid
he's not.
being the target of conspiracy theories.
Yeah. But all of a sudden and you're like, what, he's got to be pushing 70 now, right?
Bill Gates, he's got to be
Yeah.
over 70, right?
I'm not.
Oh, Bill
100%.
Gates, 28.
28. Wow.
Yeah,
He's done a lot.
1996 was wild.
Unbelievable.
It's wild that he wasn't even born when Windows 95 came out.
Yeah. And he looks like shit for 28. He's not like these other stars and starlets.
He was positioned as like this yokel who made good, right? Like, oh, he was just like he's William Henry Gates the Third. Whatever. He's 68.
I think that strikes me as like probably part of the reason why Steve Jobs didn't like him. That he was like, you're full of shit. Like you're trying to be like, oh, I just fell into this, when it's like, no, you know what you're doing, and then after I die, you're gonna buy up all the farmland. As people are like, right as everybody's going from like, hey, this guy's great. He like left his company and he just decided to use it. He's giving away all his money and he's gonna cure malaria. And then fast forward 15 years, it's like, hey, he's actually richer than ever. And seemingly knows something everybody else doesn't, because he's buying all this farmland up.
Sorry, I'm just reading about him. His father was a prominent lawyer. His mother served on the board of directors of First Interstate Bank System and United Way of America.
That they give that kind of position to anybody, I think.
Yeah,
Then you just have
especially
to
like
ask.
a woman in the 60s having a seat on a board.
Nah,
an
probably
international
was not a
banking.
powerful person whatsoever.
Mhm.
Tim, I don't know what you're talking about.
Vampires. That's what I'm
Vampires.
talking about.
Yeah, well, yeah, speaking of vampires, garlic and holy water, Tim, these are two things that they don't alike. And I'm not just talking about Italian vampires when I say it that way.
Great. Now we're going to get emails from Italy.
Garlic, holy water, and crosses they don't like.
Right.
But crosses and garlic, as they're portrayed, are more like, like the equivalent of like tear gas to a human, where it's just like, I don't want that. That's like, that's not going to kill me, but it's painful. It's irritating.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I'm going
Tear
to
gas,
avoid
I
it.
feel like, is more than annoying and like, I don't want that.
Well, I'm saying tear gas deployed in the way like garlic or a cross could be deployed, where like you can see it from a distance, you know, and you
Right.
can be like, oh, I can feel that from over here. Oh, I'm gonna steer clear of that. But holy water, you splash one of them with that, it burns them. It seems like. Again, I don't
Yeah.
know if you could kill one. Maybe if you dumped it in a pool of
If
holy
there's
water.
a swimming pool full of holy water.
Yeah, or like you did
Holy
like
water just needs to be blessed by a priest.
just blessed by a priest. Yeah. I mean, and
If I
like
was a
Baptist.
priest, wouldn't you just like bless all the water you ever saw just
Yeah, why not?
to
Play it
protect
safe.
the villagers against vampires?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say like Baptists do like baptisms in bodies of water. So I assume there's something similar going on there. Maybe not. Maybe the water isn't blessed when they do that. It's considered already God's water or whatever. But yeah, I mean, no reason not to bless water. There aren't. Do you know like I mean, a lot of vampire stuff I feel like is also like very tied to the Catholicism.
Wait, what is this?
Like vampire stuff. It's like tied to Catholicism with
Yeah.
like, you know, priests, like Catholic priests are often like the ones fighting vampires. Vampires are like agents of Satan.
Are they agents of Satan though? Like in none of the literature I've ever read, it's like, hey, you know what? I love hell.
Well, that's the thing. You can portray them different ways. You could play it, you know, the way I Am Legend does, of like this is a bacteria that is causing all of this to happen, and we're going to try and ground it. Or you can do, you know, I don't know, the Twilight or Blade or whatever, like the more magical route of how this is supposed to all work.
Well, I don't like any of it, Tom. I don't like their fangs.
No, who would? Well, my question, why I brought up the Catholic stuff is, do you remember, like, is there something preventing priests from just like blessing all the water they come across? Is it supposed to be like if the water is meant to, you know, if there's like a water cooler in an office that people are going to drink out of, you're not supposed to bless that?
I don't know. What would be the downside? I also don't know the purported powers of holy
blessing
water.
the water. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the Eucharist, like, and the wine. After they bless that, whatever was left over, they would have to consume. But that's because they were making that the body and the blood of Christ. Whereas the holy water, they're just blessing the water. I mean,
and
you
also,
can walk
who
into
was
it.
the guy that came up at some point was like, we actually have to, after I bless it, if you guys don't finish it, I have to.
I have to, like, once the bottle's
Someone's
opened,
got to do it, yeah.
But like holy water, they've gotten those, you know, like bird baths at the front of church. Like you could just, you know, take some. That's fine.
What? Really?
Yeah. Not like still inside the church, but you go inside and there's a little. They have this at the church we went to as kids.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, just a little thing you could dip. You know, you dip your fingers in, do the sign of the cross, and
I would dip
good?
my lollipop in it so then I could lick it off and have the powers inside me. It would fight all disease. I wouldn't need to take medicine anymore.
Well, that would explain why the holy water always tasted vaguely of blow pops.
Yeah.
Tim, when you think of vampires, who do you think of as like the most famous vampire?
Dr. Dracula.
He's not a doctor; he's a count.
I think of him, and I think of Count von Count.
Count von Count, the other famous count, who's a Dracula, who's a vampire. Do you remember that game, Castlevania Symphony of the Night? Remember we had friends who were real into that?
No. I don't remember who that is.
We had friends who were real into. I'll tell you who it is after the show. And
I vaguely remember this. You're gonna have to tell me.
It was at the House of Sin, Tim.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
But I just remember everyone who was real into that game explained to me, like, yo, the guy's name is Alucard, and you find out at the end of the game that's backwards for Dracula. And like even hearing that secondhand was mind blowing. And I don't think it's even set up as like a reveal in the game.
It's like pretty obvious when you see
Yeah, like you're supposed to know that going in, but
you know what annoys me about Count Von Count from Sesame Street?
Oh, he's obsessed with numbers.
I think he's a great character, and he's always counting. But then you always read this fact that, like, oh, you know, it's actually based on vampire lore because, like, you know, vampires are, like, obsessed with counting. Like, one way to supposedly deter a vampire is to throw seeds outside of a door or a place. And then they're compelled to count the seeds.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Rain Man.
Yeah, it's like, no, I think the Muppet guys were just like, count. it's you know, it's like Count Dracula. This is Count Von Count, and he counts.
He counts. We need
it's
a character who
not like, it
counts.
also overlaps with vampire lore.
Yeah, because he doesn't have any of the other weaknesses of a vampire.
No, he's out singing songs like the first goddamn line, "Sunny day, sweeping the clouds away."
Yeah,
right.
And who's there? Count Von Count, hanging out.
Count, having a great time.
Yeah,
he doesn't care. He's not like, "Oh, my skin, it's burning."
Yeah. Do you ever find it like awkward when sometimes characters like the Count and Oscar the Grouch interact?
Why?
Just because it's kind of like I don't know. Neither of you's like the straight man here.
I like it. I like it.
You need like, I feel like they're kind of like friends of friends. So when like, I don't know, Big Bird's not around, they're like, so how's work? Like they kind of just don't know what to talk about. They're a little like
unbored. Yeah. There's no obvious like game there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun nonetheless. I like seeing
Hey, they make it work. It's a nice community they've got down there at Sesame Street.
It really
if you
is.
like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. You can check out all our social media links there. You can find links to our subreddit on our Discord and our Patreon, patreon.com/complete guide, where you get books and podcasts. This week, Tim, we're back at it in Hell House.
Back at the Hell House.
I'm reading Hell House for Halloween month. The scariest haunted house book ever, and shit's getting crazy in this book. It is legitimately scary. It's disturbing me. It's leaving me disturbed.
Is it making you any likelier to go to hell?
I think so. It's giving me like some ideas about hell that I don't like.
No, I don't like a lot of things. A lot of what hell stands for. I'm against.
You can find that at patreon.com/complete guide, along with back episodes of Books the Podcast and much more. I'm looking at this list of Draculas, and yeah, I don't know, there are some that I don't. Oh, did you know about this one? Carmilla, a precursor to Dracula.
That's Tony Soprano's wife.
A vampire before Dracula, Tim. One of the earliest female vampires in literature. Her character helped shape the image of seductive female vampires in literature.
Interesting.
Buffy, well, that was a vampire slayer. Spike, he was the vampire in Buffy. Blade. Do you like Blade, Tim? Do you like Wesley Snipes as Blade?
I don't know anything about Blade.
Blade is half vampire, half human, so he's the day walker. He can walk around during the day. That's like his big. I think it's that he can walk around during the day, and I know he's got vampire teeth, but I forget. I don't think he really has like the lust for blood like a full-blooded vampire would.
Okay.
He kills vampires.
I'll have to bone up on it. I know that they've been trying to make a Blade movie. And
with Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes, though. Great Blade.
He purported to be the only Blade.
That's what he says, and so far he's right.
Mm-hmm. I think I could be a good Blade.
We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.